Okay. So I asked Kiley to hop on kind of like a little bit of a call or interview with me so I could share with the team kind of just what she's been doing the last handful of months, how she has kind of leveled up her business and how she's kind of taken that next step, practical steps um, as a busy mom, as a woman who is moving and changing areas on a regular basis because of her husband's military life and just all that kind of stuff. She, has a lot of the same excuses that any of us could be making. Family not around, all of those kinds of things. But it was just really exciting to see her, say, hey, this is a need or a desire that I have, and then take action on it and then make it actually happen. And how often do we actually do that? And so I just wanted to kind of interview her and have her share her process and how she did that. I just had to ask her. It's so funny because like all the time my time blends together, right? And so I'm like, how long have you been a coach again? Because I feel like I've known her for a while, but I'm like, but I don't even know how long her coach, Courtney, has been a coach anymore because it all blends together, whatever else. I don't even remember how long I've been a coach most of the time. So Kylie's been actively coaching for 4 years. And so I think that's great too, because of the fact I think a lot of times we think that we get stuck in this business, right? Like, oh, is this it? I've hit my cap. Like we have this momentum that builds in the beginning because we're excited and we get things rolling, but then it kind of maybe tapers off at some point and we level out. And so how do we really bring things to the next level if we want to continue to grow our business and not just stay stuck or leveled out? So I'm going to have Kiley kick off by sharing her story and then kind of what kicked off this wanting to make a change, wanting to level up. Like, okay, so go ahead, take it over.
Thanks. Yeah, so like Crystal said, I have been coaching for about 4 years, and I really started, like I just told her, I signed up as a coach to work on my fitness and get out of debt at the same time. Like I just wanted to feel good, look good, and live a better life because my husband and I got married very young. We moved to Germany right away with the military, and we were just dead broke. And I was at a point where I was 20 pounds overweight, not taking care of myself, making every excuse, and feeling stuck just in life and working two dead-end jobs that I had no passion for were sucking the life out of me, were taking me away from my husband more than I would have liked. And we were still barely scraping by. And I was like, God, there has to be something more. Like, this cannot be it. The week that I signed up as a coach, I cried in the grocery store checkout line because I didn't know if I had the $90 in my bank account to cover groceries, which it's a full circle moment because today's grocery day. It's Wednesday, the day before payday. We no longer have to wait until payday to buy groceries. And that is huge. So that's why I signed up. I was ready to change my life, and that's exactly what happened. So I dove in fully with a Josh Coates push group. My coach Courtney was trying to go superstar and needed the points for me to hit 1 star. And that just taking that consistent action catapulted my business forward. Like 1 star quals in December, 2 star quals in February, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. And that was back in 2020. My team hit elite, and it was incredible momentum.
Mm-hmm.
It was an amazing year and everything was perfect. And then I got diagnosed with major depression. My husband was deployed for 6 months while I was completely alone living in Germany on lockdown. Then we did an international move. I got pregnant. I had a pretty tough pregnancy. And then postpartum is a beast in and of itself. Add in postpartum depression, postpartum anxiety, and another move. Mind you, never in that time did I quit or think about quitting this business. This business is one that comes with you through every single season. And if you make it a priority, which will look different in every season for every person, it will see you through. And so I continued coaching through this, continued having this be our main source of income because through coaching and seeing the potential, I knew that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And now I was like, wait, I can make a full-time income from home with my kids. I'm going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. I've been staying home with my son. But with all of those challenges and obstacles that I have overcome, my time to invest in this business is no longer, 5, 6 hours a day like it was 3 years ago. It's now about an hour a day. And just over the past year, my income took a dip. And with it being my full time income, I needed that to change. And I was like, we're trying to buy a house this fall. My husband's in the military. They don't give him raises very often. He is making as much money as he can make. So my income is the variable that we can control as far as buying a house. And let's be honest, my husband flies helicopters, and I don't really like that with the military. And so when his contract is up in 4 years, I don't want money to be an issue for him. I don't want him to sign his life back away because he thinks he's got to have this bonus for his family. I would like my income to be our main income so that he can make whatever decision is going to make him happy and not take him away from us 210 days a year like he is right now. So I knew from past experience with my business that, okay, I feel like I've just been stuck, like Crystal said. But I know from past experience that you're never stuck in this business. There's always somewhere to go. There's always changes that you can make.
Mm-hmm.
And I also knew from past experience that you can build momentum pretty quick in this business. Back when I was diamond to 5-star in like 6 months. So I reached out to Christy, like, because she's just numbers and income and can tell, like, if you tell me what to do, I will do it. So we hopped on a call and we just kind of talked through mindset and what I was doing, and just some really just small tweaks because I've always been good at doing the basics because that's important. But when it came down to it, she challenged me to help 10 people a month. She said, I don't care how you sign them up, what they sign up with, take these actions to sign up 10 people a month, and that will budge your income. And then we'll kind of regroup and go from there. So in March, I did that. In April, I did that. And in May, so far, I think I'm like 2 people away in May, 1 person away in May, but there's still 10 because it's still May.
Mm-hmm.
But so how did I do that is like the main question, right? Is how did I meet that challenge and bump my income up back where I needed it to be within 2 months? Really just a month at that point, which was just exciting. So the first things first is to trust God to show up and provide when I take action.
Mm.
I think so often we're like, oh, well, God's called me to coaching and he's called me to this career, he's just we pray like, Lord, bring me the women that you have for me. Bring me the women that, need this lifestyle change, that are going to coach on my team, blah, blah, blah. No, it should be lead me to, because lead me to leaves room for you to take action. And something that my pastor always says is to position yourself to receive God's blessing. And so I knew that I could trust him to show up and provide for me and my family. He knows exactly what we need. If I was willing to be faithful in taking action in my business and not making excuses, like today, for example, my son's not napping. Like his nap time is the only time that I work. So I run my business in about an hour a day. So I have to be intentional with my time. He's not napping. So I got to make sure that I am showing up consistently, doing these actions, regardless of what that looks like every single day, and not using the excuses that would be valid, because nothing matters more than the life I envision for my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of takes me to the second thing is you can't get around doing the basics in this business. I think we're always waiting for some magic solution, some really like sexy plan, when really it's in the unsexy actions of this business. Like this Success Club tracker, the top coaches in the business came together to put this together and said, this is what works, do this. And obviously the further you move in the business, there's some extra fluff stuff, but the basics need to get done every day. every single day. And so I got back to the basics of using my tracker every day and making sure that these simple, mundane actions in this business were getting done every day. Posting on social media, having a challenge group to invite to, inviting, following up, checking in with clients, all of those things. And I just want to remind you that this success that I am seeing is years of consistency and not doing the basics. So I've, through all the seasons, have always showed up on social media, have always invited to my challenge groups, have always made sure that I'm hitting Success Club and bringing new people in. And so this is years of following up and building my pipeline and doing these things. So just know that if you want your business to change in the future, it starts with what you're doing right now. And it starts with these actions and doing them religiously, even when you're not seeing the instant results from doing them. And so I got back to making sure that I'm doing these basics, and then the extra stuff gets done if I have extra time. And just being intentional with the time that I have, not saying, oh, well, I didn't get the whole hour of work done because Eli didn't nap his full nap. You can get this whole checklist done in about an hour a day, and you can do it 15 minutes before your kids wake up. You can do it 30 minutes while they nap or after work or whenever, just finding those pockets of the day, but being diligent and not making excuses about doing these things. Because I knew, okay, well, I'm doing these basics, showing up on social media, but how consistent have I been with doing follow-ups? How consistent have I been with, inviting to the coach opportunity? It's easier to invite to the challenge group, is what we tell ourselves. And so I just had to reflect and get back to making sure I'm doing those things. And then the third thing that I think was really important was changing the way that I was showing up and telling my story on social media. I think when we get a certain point into this business, when we've seen the results, we've done the mindset work, we've been consistent, we've seen the success in the business, we can kind of start coming from a standpoint of, look at me and where I am now. I know that you want to be here and I can help you get here. And I've shifted my language more towards just retelling my story and where I was, and that body is absolutely the vehicle that helped me get where I am today. Because what that does is, when I'm telling my story about where I was when I was, 20 pounds overweight, struggling with my mental health, every area of my life was suffering because of it, not taking care of myself, drowning in finances, those pain points that I'm talking about myself, not putting them on anybody else, allows my audience to see themselves in my story and relate and be like, that's literally how I feel right now. And then in telling my story and how I got to where I am today, they then start to see body and this community and my team as their solution too. Because if it helped me, it can help them. And so I think just making that simple shift in the way that I was telling my story and the way that I was sharing where I am now has really helped a lot of women come out of the woodwork and be like, listen, I'm finally ready. Because a lot of the people that I'm signing up are not new people. They're people that I've been inviting for years, months, who have ghosted me for months. And in just telling my story that way, they reach out saying, that's how I feel. And I think that I'm ready to do this. And then I also stopped trying to speak to everyone, and being true and speaking to my reasons for showing up for health and fitness and my story. Just kind of, for example, I do exercise and eat healthy to feel my best, but I also don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to look good. And I know that in society that's like really frowned upon right now. And so for a long time, I just kind of left that part out, and I wasn't as big on like the physical transformation part and all of that stuff. And I've started sharing my physical results again. Before and afters are really powerful, because at the end of the day, that's true to me. That's true to my story. That's what my ideal person is looking for. And if somebody wants, a body positivity movement, there's plenty of profiles out there that they can find. So just telling my story in my voice, from my perspective, in a way that allows them to see themselves and see their solution in my story, was probably the main shift that I've made in just getting those conversations going again. And so moving forward, I just plan to duplicate what
Mhm.
I've been doing, continue doing those actions, and just be intentional with client retention and staying in touch with them and making sure that they're always getting plugged in, which this body block format really helps us do in launching something every single month, giving them that opportunity to recommit.
Mhm. Awesome.
That was a lot.
Love that. I love that. No, yeah. And so can you share the difference of like when she challenged you to sign up 10 people a month? So you were hitting Success Club. So you were helping then 5 people a month. So it's basically doubling what you were doing. Is that what you were doing consistently?
Yeah, I would say so. I think less. So in March, I focused less on the Success Club number, which this amazing new SC through PV is amazing. So it was getting me there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but really just not in a bad way of like, I'm all about the sale, not helping somebody, but making sure that I'm making a sale to somebody. And because I think a lot of times on limited business hours, I can shift to the, well, they don't want a TSP, so that's a no, I'll follow up with them next month. But really breaking down the conversation in, okay, well, let's meet you where you're at, what's most important to you. If it's, just an annual membership, even if it's just a quarterly membership, if it's a 3-day refresh, if it's just Shakeology or just the gut protocol plan,
Mm-hmm.
and figuring out what they needed. um, and people are receptive to that, and a couple of them ended up purchasing something and then being like, you know what, I do want to go all in, and seeing it that way. But yeah, just not limiting myself, I think, to the sale of a TSP. But
Mm-hmm.
with the volume, yes, the Success Club does then get there. And then in that month, also, I had done the Ultimate Reset. And so people were interested in that,
Mm-hmm.
because if you haven't done that yet, it's amazing. Um, so I did sell a couple of those. But yeah, it was just, kind of diversifying what I was offering, and
Yeah.
kind of the same thing in May. I think May was mostly total solution packs, especially with the promo codes. Um, but yeah, in May, no, in April, I'm skipping a whole month. Yes, I did end up hitting SC20 in my account and SC4 in my husband's account.
Awesome.
And a lot of them, I have a little question I have like a fit quiz
Mm-hmm.
that actually Taylor Dirksen made, that just ask them about their goals and whatnot. And so when they say that they're interested in the challenge group, I give a brief overview of what it is and say, hey, fill out this form. It'll tell me more about your goals. And then I'll get back to you on what I recommend. And the answer is basically copy and paste, but I customize, hey, this is the exact program that I'm going to start you with. This is
Mm-hmm.
the exact meal plan I'm going to start you with. You're going to have access to everything for a year after that. This is the supplement pack that I suggest for you because you said that you struggle with cravings. And so it helps them see, oh, this will really help me with my goals instead of just this generic, hey, this is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and at the end of that questionnaire, it says, are you interested in enrolling with the VIP option to save 25% on any future purchases of supplements?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them say yes. And so I enroll them as a discount coach, not a PC.
Mm-hmm.
And those fast start bonuses start rolling in. Those
Yep.
really add up. So that was another thing that I was doing, um, to bump that paycheck up.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think a lot of times too, like after we've had our initial momentum, or we've been doing this for a little while, it's easy to get into that. I mean, even if you are consistent and whatever else, like it's easy to get into that content mode, or that just I'm good, if you're fit already or whatever. But like, are you really showcasing what we have to offer to the fullest ability, or the best ability
Right,
that you can, right?
right.
Are you really, following the meal plan to the best? And everybody falls off here or whatever else, even if you're living a healthy lifestyle, but like
Yeah.
taking and doing the ultimate reset, or what
Mhm.
if it was the gut protocol or whatever else, like
Yeah.
taking it and doing it. Even just like, I know that we've had some people on our team who, did the job one test group or whatever coming up for the body block, and they broke through plateaus and moved forward because they actually like said, okay, I'm actually doing this, not just kind of
Yeah.
skirting through this and whatever and skating through. But
Yeah.
I
That
think
goes
that's
back
great.
to just being a product of the product. That's like one of the vital behaviors, is just
Right.
showing up, getting results. And I think that's one thing that has always driven my business is just always getting results and showing, hey, this really works.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that you said that you're just retelling your story of when, like, really of when you started and how body has been that vehicle. Because, yeah, I think too, we can get in the mode of thinking like, oh, everyone's heard my story, but not if you're
Mhm.
consistently growing your network and whatever else too. And for them to see themselves in your story instead of
Mhm.
coming from a place of preaching or sharing or whatever else, having them, yeah, see themselves and their pain points in the pain points that you had, I think was a huge shift. Did you do
Yeah.
anything like, how did you, is there any particular books that you read, like storytelling wise, or did you try, how did you make that shift so well in your social?
I think I just kind of reflected on when I was seeing, a lot of momentum in my business,
Hmm.
what kinds of things was I sharing? And I look back and it was like a lot of transformation stuff. And that just kind of got
Hmm.
me thinking of like people want to see it working,
Yeah.
not that it just worked for you or that you're out on the other side. 'Cause that
Hmm.
creates this like divide
Hmm.
between where they are and where you are.
Hmm.
But then just kind of just showing them how I got from where I was to where I am. And on the point of like sharing your story over and over again, you can share your story in 10 different ways, but you can
Hmm.
also share it again and again. And somebody, who reads it 2 years ago, they might be in a different spot today and they might see
Absolutely.
themselves in it now. Like I always say, like, I feel like anytime I open scripture and I could read the same passage in 10 different seasons of life and it has 10 different meanings. And so it's
Hmm.
kind of the same thing with telling your story, um,
Absolutely.
over time. And we say the same thing about inviting. You never know if it's a better month for that person. You never
Hmm.
know if they need to read your story today more than they did, 2 weeks ago, even.
Yeah.
So just, yeah, always, always sharing. And the more people read it and know it, the more it's, they know that you're the person to come to also.
Hmm. Yeah. I love too how you said like the first part was trusting God to show up when I take action, and not the bring me these
Mhm.
people, but lead me to these people because of the action that you're taking.
Mhm.
That stood out to me because I've been going through, I think I talk about it like all the time. So I feel like everyone's heard it, but like Winning the War on Your Mind by Craig Rochelle. And I'm actually doing the workbook, and we just went through and did declarations. And that's part of it within business wise of like, I take action confident that God will do his part, like
Yes.
making sure that, I will pray like it's all based on, like it all depends on God, but I will act as if it all depends on me. Like those kinds
Exactly.
of things, remembering that it's not just, going to be delivered to you on a silver platter or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because who do we think we are if that's the case?
Right. No,
So,
I think that's the cool thing about this business is like it's the same thing with fitness. Like you've got to
mhm,
put in the reps and at the end of the day, and that's what I love about fitness is that, in a world of things I can't control, like how I move my body and what I put in my body are things that I can control.
yes.
I'm the only one to blame,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
it's kind of the same with this business.
Hmm.
We are solely responsible for the action that we do or don't take in this business,
Hmm.
and just our willingness to tweak our plan and change things and evolve if what was working 2 years ago isn't working today.
Hmm.
And that's what I did in going to Christy and like, hey, what I've been doing isn't working, but I know that it's up to me to make these changes. It's not just magically going to start working.
Hmm.
And so just taking that accountability. Yeah.
Yeah, and being willing to grow. I love that because
Yeah.
yeah, no matter where you're at, you have to always be willing to grow. That's how you get better.
Mhm.
Um, my last question, I'm just curious because I know a lot of people will want to know this. So you said you were working around 5 or 6 hours a day before, and now that you really truly probably only have like a solid hour.
Mhm.
So with obviously you're using the bat and the activity tracker to get stuff done. But so are you literally like doing like the little by little each and every single day? Are you batch working and doing, like how are you getting that done? How are you focusing? Are you getting on a power hour? Like what does it look like for you?
Um, so some days it looks different just depending on like what my team has going on. And so like yesterday was more sending out emails for the end of the month, checking in, making sure that my clients are plugged into our next group starting next week, creating the bod group, stuff like that, and making sure that I'm responding to the messages in my inbox. So I didn't invite yesterday, so that's going to be a main focus today.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I would say that I really try every day to get in those core things. Like the whole first part of the checklist is already done by the time I sit down to work. Take care of yourself first. Um, but, and I'll just set a timer on my phone for, expand your network to follow like 20 people. I mean, that takes like 5 minutes. I'll just set my timer for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like a race against myself to be like really intentional with my time.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, but really just making sure that the nuggets are I posted, I've expanded my network, I've invited, I followed up.
Mhm.
Those are the main things that I really try to focus on, like while I'm sitting here,
Yeah.
because those conversations with people need my focus. But
Mhm.
there's other parts throughout the day, if Eli's playing contently, that I can mess with Canva and make a slide, you know what I mean? Or I can check in with my clients or um, update my stories and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
those main income producing activities are what I really try to focus on when I sit down to work. I will say when my husband's schedule was a little bit different and Eli's schedule was different and nothing ever stays the same, I was able to work like 2 or 3 hours a day if I got up early enough and got an hour in and then an hour at nap, an
Mhm.
hour in the afternoon. That I just don't have it sitting here. I sat down and kind of condensed the daily activities that I need to do
Mhm.
with times, like how long I'm going to do.
Like time blocking.
Yes. So,
Mhm.
like this hour in the morning, I'm going to spend, you know, 10 minutes growing my network, 20 minutes sending invites, and setting those timers and getting those done. And that's really, really an effective way if you're short on time to
Mhm.
make sure that you get those things done.
Mhm.
And you realize that it really doesn't take as long as you thought that it would, especially if you're racing that timer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it all. I love it, love it, love it. And it's over the years, like people are always looking for, like you said, that magic, like sexy thing or whatever else. And it really is like, it's just show up, do the work. Like even all the trainings that I do, like dive into, I did Melanie Mitro's recruiting rockstar, whatever
Yeah.
it is, blah, blah, blah. Last year I worked with Micah Folsom on her systems and all these different things. And they're all doing the same stuff that we are doing. They're
Yep.
all doing the same stuff.
Yep.
They just do more of it, right? Or they've just been doing it for longer, or they've been willing to grow and tweak it more and that kind of stuff. So it really is. I
Exactly.
mean, there's no like secret sauce. It's just showing up consistently. But also, I love how you said being willing to kind of take outside direction, accountability
Mhm.
wise, being willing to learn, be able to grow, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of the things that we do with that I do with clients on a weekly basis is, okay, what was your win? And coaches, what was your
Mhm.
win? Did you struggle with anything? Okay, with that struggle, what's one thing you can do to get better in that, right? And
Right.
so if we're consistently kind of looking at how can we tweak, how can we grow, celebrating the wins,
Yeah.
um, then we'll keep moving forward. Yeah.
Exactly. Because the answer is never, it's just not working. It's not working for me.
Mhm.
If it can work for anybody, it can work for you. You just
Mhm.
have to be, again, willing to
Mhm.
learn, change things, and to keep showing up, even when it feels like it's not working, and give things time to work. That's the other thing I always tell my girls. Unfortunately, there is like a 30 to 60 day delay in this business.
Mhm.
And so the work that you're doing today, if you start showing up for the first time consistently tomorrow,
Mhm.
you might not hit Success Club in June.
Mhm.
You'll hit it in July. in August if you keep going.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you yo-yo and keep starting and stopping because you feel like it's not working, and then you recommit and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
There's going to be seasons that you can go harder and seasons that you can't,
Mm-hmm.
but just keep doing it and building that consistency over time. I always say I'm going to get to where I'm going. I'm going to try to get there as fast as I can, because who doesn't want that?
Yeah.
But I don't care how long it takes. Like, I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And you do that by just continuing to show up and do the things.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you, Kiley. Thank you for
Of course. Thanks for having me.
sharing your time and sharing all of that.
Of
I really
course.
appreciate it.